Thank you very much.
In Wyoming, we have RAO. You're on with Seth and Matt.
Good afternoon, Seth and Matt. It is great to talk to you again, Matt. And Seth, it is nice to talk to another Okie. I ain't been able to do so for a while.
What part of Oklahoma?
Wyoming.
KC, actually, and Guthrie. No, I moved out here about 3 years ago, but I heard on the news that I might be able to be heading back soon. So
I figured it was Oklahoma.
Wait, no. I have to ask. You heard on the news that you might be able to go back to Oklahoma? What are you on the run from?
Not enough pot for 3 people.
Okay.
Is like weed a recurring theme on this show? Is it just like something I need to know about, or I'm just kidding.
I guess y'all got a following.
Yeah. Well,
all right. What? Let's get to the point, because I'm not high and you might be. And
I actually had to clock in today. I'm actually taking a cigarette break so that I can talk to you guys right quick.
All right.
But the first time that I called you, I heard the very best joke regarding my name. And since my name is regarding the first person to troll me, and since the person that delivered it is, basically the secular surrogate of the atheists, I just found that kind of interesting. Then I kept watching a little bit further, and then Eric popped off with something that was really weird. I'm sorry, man, we've been using you as our therapist, and it's all right, I've got 8 years of psychology. And what? And then Eric kind of perked up at that too. And then I was looking for one more thing so that I could have an argument. And then one of the very last questions that you asked was something that I would have answered with this particular argument. Have you ever turned on the TV, or has anything ever happened weird with the TV and you thought that might be God? Not when the volume adjusts, not when the lighting adjusts, but when you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, and it is saying exactly what you're emotionally going through right now, and it is damn near always in a state of emotional pinnacle or thought pinnacle that you're hearing on the radio what sounds like telepathy.
So I was in the car the other day. And a song came on which was exactly the right song for exactly what was in my head. And one of the things that I had to immediately pause and think about is that there were probably 150 songs that would have also been exactly what was going on in my head. And
that's 150 out of how many?
Well, I don't know, but if we're...
How many songs...
Does it matter?
I'm going to need some alcohol for this. Yeah. I'm going to need somebody hit the... Is there a still or something? This is Texas.
All right,
even though...
Keep going, Mario.
It doesn't give us, like, certifiable 100% evidence, but...
It doesn't give us 1%.
It gives us, I think it gives us a degree of likelihood if we can see a pattern flow throughout time.
Okay,
because
so...
all the next week...
I'm not sure. I don't understand the question.
Let me see if I can clear this up. Ario?
Hang on just a second. I need to put the bat decoder on this real quick.
I'm going to let you verify that I'm getting this right, but Seth wasn't following. Essentially, you'll have a certain thought or whatever. You turn the TV on, and it's saying essentially what you're thinking or what you needed.
Like the universe kind of lines up in that moment.
And he's saying that this serendipitous, or this situation is somehow giving an indication that there's a higher power, God, whatever, who's decided that here's the song that the DJ is going to play.
He needed to hear that song at this time, and so he aligned sort of your reality to suit you.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it pretty much seems accurate. And then throughout the next week, I had a big complaint on my mind. And without going to specifics, my big complaint was deceptive editing. Well, then on Talk Heathen...
Your big complaint was what?
Specifically, deceptive editing.
Okay.
When you edit something to make somebody say something they didn't say.
Yep.
And so,
which, by the way, congrats. Somebody's going to do that to you as soon as this gets posted because you mentioned it, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, on Talk Heathen, that the very next week, Matt flat out said, "Do not clip this. I would not like to hear. I would not like to hear myself being obsessed with Taylor Swift." And
I'm actually over that because I am obsessed with Taylor Swift. So it's fine if somebody wants to make me seem that way.
Okay. Well, then.
Not in a dangerous way, Tay.
Can you assert that I did not choose the order of these calls?
Can I assert that you did not choose the order of these calls?
Correct.
I have no reason to think you had any influence over the order in which we took calls.
Well, in the very last call that you took, you had mentioned a call where deceptive editing would have come into mind that very same week that you were on Talk Heathen talking about do not clip this.
So are you in any way suggesting, just for clarity, that there's a God or higher power that induced me to say something to give you a message?
Not specifically, but not no.
Okay.
I don't think it was specifically to give me a message. I think it was simply to deliver a message.
Okay. How do you know that I wasn't the one that decided to deliver the message?
Well, you did, but it's a domino effect. It's these little pieces that end up making something big.
Okay. I'm really trying here, RAO. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but I think I know where we've talked a little bit about where you're going. The problem is that I can't look at a number of things that are likely coincidental and say, oh, wait, there has to be a connection here, or there's likely a connection here, because I know how good people are at making connections that don't exist.
Right.
In particular, that's happened to me 50 times today. So the point is the time to believe that there's a governing authority that's making these decisions and everything else isn't when we have an inkling or a suspicion and we've seen some connection and that's our interpretation. The time to believe is when we can actually demonstrate that that is likely to be the case.
Well, ain't nobody going to be able to demonstrate anything they're not looking for.
Well, first of all, I don't know that that's not necessarily true. Or I don't know that, yeah. Wow. Nobody's going to be able to demonstrate anything they're not looking for. So people can't accidentally stumble upon things?
Well, you have to be looking for something to find something else accidentally.
Okay, so look. Who's saying don't look? But for thousands of years, we've been looking for evidence and sound arguments for the existence of any gods, and we've come up with nothing. And even now, all these years later, you're calling in to say, well, these sort of, coincidental things could represent a pattern, and I think it gives us an inkling in that direction. But that doesn't really get us any closer.
It doesn't give us an assertion, but it gives us possibilities. And
no. No, possibilities have to be demonstrated. The fact that you can hypothetically come up with a connection doesn't mean that that is an actual possible connection. You would have to demonstrate that that connection between a God and this message is possible. Because when something happens, hang on, when something happens and we want an explanation for it, what we do is we look through a list of candidate explanations. And we need to look at, first of all, the ones that are demonstrated to be plausible or likely. If we find, I don't know, if, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to come up with an example that's appropriate at this moment. If we look through and we want to explain something, we come up with a list of candidate explanations, then we analyze which ones are more likely. And then even if we found the most plausible explanation, that doesn't mean we're justified in thinking it's the right one until there's sufficient evidence to warrant it. But what you're doing is saying that, okay, I need an explanation for why this song came on the radio or this show came on TV at the exact moment, or why I tuned in at this exact moment. And instead of looking for all the plausible explanations, you just leap to one that you want to label as possible and say, well, this kind of leads us in that direction.
I'm curious about all the times it didn't line up. Yeah. When you needed to hear a certain song and it didn't play, or when you wanted something to happen or needed something to happen and it didn't happen. All right. Do we only count the hits and ignore? You're counting the hits and ignoring the misses, probably, right?
I just think that sums up to you're going the wrong direction if you're not seeing it. Once you start seeing it, once you start lining up with it, that's where you're at. And I'm pretty much here to shut Ben down from making Wyoming look bad and knocking off synchronicity and frequency as a one-off and then connecting it to the Bible. Because Ben
I have no clue
how do you determine how long a call like this goes on? Like, do you just...
Oh, this long?
I mean... Like I'm a guest. I don't want to be rude, but